Welcome to our completely redesigned version of Advocacy Pro. The system has been around for 15 years as an ASP application that only really worked on a browser. The new version is cloud-based or can be hosted on-premise. It has multiple means of authentication. You can use Active Directory, you can use Azure. There's also multiple levels of security within the application. It uses a responsive design, so it will work on a smartphone, on a tablet, or on a traditional browser. So let's jump into the application. I'm sorry about that. So this is kind of the everything dashboard menu at this point. We've got open cases, open fires. For those of you that don't normally deal with fires, this is something that is specific to colleges. But basically everything is available on the menu. The menu can collapse to give you more screen real estate. There are alerts showing I've got one open case, have zero open fires. I can change my password. I can search and close this. On the Of the main navigation, we have the dashboard, which we're at now. Case management allows us to search cases, search archive cases, add new cases. Similar with fires. Again, this is only really used for college campuses, but I suppose fire departments could use this as well. We have a variety of reports that are already in the system for crime log, fire log. These are primarily VOCA and college based. We're going to be adding more as time goes on. Documentation will live here when it's finished. The admin menu is typically not available to the general users, but this is where your system admin would manage the members, the organizations, and the values. This makes for a long menu here, but you can see you can you can modify age groupings, application status. A lot of these items are specific to certain types of case management, but let me just pull up a couple. So typical application status, you can add new values, you can edit screens, uh, gender, if you can have unknown male, female. We also have gender identity for populations that are starting to deal with that. Ethnicity. We try to follow standard census guidelines, but I know some programs use their own, and you can change them as needed. I'm not going to go through all of um, the values in here. There's obviously quite a few of them that are we currently have that are editable. So let's jump into case management. So we have basic search. We only have a couple of cases that are currently in the demo version here, and I'm going to jump into one that I created for myself. It's pretty simple in terms of the basic case info, contact information, and details, but it gives you most of the data that you would need for the types of reports. So you're tracking gender, race, ethnicity, date of birth, and cases are assigned to a particular case manager. This can be expanded. Now, the menu at the top, this is configurable based on the types of population that you serve. Right now, you're kind of looking at the everything menu. So we have a variety of sub um, topics that that can be involved. We're going to be adding additional ones of these. So if you don't see a particular topic on here, ask us about it. But some of the ones that are in the works are clinical exams for sexual assault and domestic violence, residential placements to give history for persons that are in residential settings or halfway houses, educational history, checklists for activities related to missing persons, uh, refugees, town social services, things like that. We're also planning a self-service portal for VOCA applications and expense submissions, which is tied to payments if you are dealing with the VOCA payment processing, which we also track in the system. So just going to go through some of the screens. This is um, this portion of the case summary here is the same as if we'd added a new case into the system. And you can track whether it's open or closed, and you can archive cases as well. We have emergency contacts. Again, similar information: first name, last name, address, demographics. If I want to make referrals, add a referral to and again, these services are configurable. You can add, we have pop-up calendars, so you can have follow-up dates that can be tracked in the system. I'm going to follow up with this in a week. And I can add notes within the referral type. Oops. And it does want me to, so you'll see notices like this when there is a required field. And it saves it as part of the record. Services is a slightly different concept. Here we have it broken down into categories. Let me find a different one. Notice that the menu changes depending on the category selected. So for your particular population, you can have a set of categories, programs, and then population that is served by that. And you can have most require a start date. Not all services have an end date. You can add it or not add it. And again, you can add a note within the service itself. We also have just basic notes. And this is just a simple note field where you can type whatever you want. Contact log, slightly separate concept. So you can track your staff interaction with a particular case, and you can track the type of contact that you're doing. The system does support document uploads, and so I can upload a particular document here. I'm not going to show it. We're planning on adding a browser or a preview capability so that you will be able to see things on the screen. Right now, when you try to look at a document, it wants to download it to your machine, and I'm not going to demonstrate that right now. but it does allow you to track a particular type of document. So if you're tracking whether you get consent forms, medical releases, minimuses, photos, whatever the document is, it keeps track of that, and you can use that for statistical reporting or tracking of case progress. You can add witnesses for particular crime-based case management. If there are police involved, you can get their names, notes, department information, and case information. If you're tracking offenders for a particular case, again, basic information about the offenders, as well as their age groupings, which is common for VOCA reporting, and their age if known. If there are specific incidents that you're tracking for domestic violence or victim services, or for college programs, you can track the type of offense, when it was reported, when it occurred, where it occurred. For campuses, we track non-campus, on-campus, off-campus, and who's involved, whether it's open, closed, and if there was disposition of the case. We can track court dates. So if you want to keep track of who's got upcoming court dates, what their docket numbers are, what the type of docket is, what the court is, whether the police involved, if there's bond information associated with it, it can all be tracked here. Victim compensation, if you are tracking your victim payments for vocal reimbursements, this is where you would track it. We have the applications here. This gives you this is for the actual application itself, and the type of application, whether it was approved or denied, what it was associated with, whether it was criminal or hate crimes or whatever, and referral information. This is the list of drop downs here doesn't match this at this point because we have basically everything together, but this would be customized as needed if you had referrals associated with the application process. If you do forensic interviewing, this can be tracked here. So you can track whether it was planned, whether it was on-site or off-site, what the date, what the position was of the interviewers' names, observers, whether protocols were followed, what type of documentation was conducted, and any notes. Letters. This feature isn't fully functioning yet in the new version, but this allows you to generate custom letters for victim notification, different things like that. But this will be available shortly. The payments goes back to the victim compensation area, and this allows you to track, what the amount submitted was by a participant and what the approved amount was, because they're not always the same. And it does support uploading of receipts or bills for various services, funeral services, counseling, whatever you allow in your VOCA program. If you're tracking protective orders, they can be added here. You've got your different order types, whether ex parte, protective order, temporary protective order, what the status is, whether it was approved, denied, or pending. And you've tracked your victimization for VOCA organizations, what type of victimization was experienced. These are the basic VOCA categories. Who the reporting agency was, any report numbers, report details, and any comments. Those are basically the overall menu items at this point. Others will be added, and others can be added based on special populations, and those in turn drive reports. So we have performance demographics. We're looking at, let me go back. We don't have a lot of cases in the demo version at this point, but so I'm looking at my performance. I have served one male person, and looking at what their race and ethnicities are. And this can be printed. I'm not going to actually print. If you want to look at services, so these are the services that were provided, the programs. Again, we can add more and victimizations for vocal reporting. So this gives you an idea of the types of reports and functions within the system. We're always adding more stuff, but this gives you a basic overview of the types of things that are in the system. Let us know what questions you have, and look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.